Hey polish fans, it's Caroline again and welcome to another video here at Wildflower Lacquer. In today's video I have a really fun part 2 of my fall nail polish rack. This is the seasonal collaboration. I'll list all of the other participants down below. You can check out all of their other videos. The first one that I did was of all of the moon cat polishes that I have in my collection that I wanted to wear for the fall season. And in today's video, you might have guessed it from the assortment of polishes that you're looking at, I am doing a pruglie video. So if you've watched any of my other videos recently, you'll know that I have been growing in fondness of pruglies for at least the past few months, if not maybe longer than that, because some of these, this Wildflower especially, I got a number of years ago. Yeah, 2020. I have been slowly but surely collecting them, but just not wearing them. And as you can see, this year I have started wearing them. So I'm wearing two of the colors that you'll be seeing here in my Pruglies fall video, and this one actually is with a topper. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at all of these fun pruglie polishes. And since the two colors that I am wearing are in here, we're just going to look at them when we get to the polishes. Before we jump in, I did want to say a huge thank you to Amanda the Nail Polish Hound for putting the group together for these seasonal collaborations, and also Jackie from Nurse Jackie for helping put together the list of all of the participants, and also for Amanda for putting together the thumbnails that we use. So a huge thank you to both of them. Now let's go ahead and jump in. The first one in sort of pruglie order, lightest to darkest, is from Different Dimension. This one is a mystery prototype number 289. This one is one of the lighter shades. This one sort of falls into a mustard, but there's a green lean to this that helps this fall into a light pruglie color, and it has a purple flash in it, which is also unusual. So this one might be one of the more, I guess, approachable colors for people not super into pruglie colors. This is it in just two coats with a glossy top coat. And as you can see, the formula on this is fantastic, good and opaque in just these two coats. It's got that interesting, is it green, is it yellow going on, plus it's got that shimmer in it that adds a very interesting and unusual contrast. Yeah, very creamy in its opacity. I really don't see very many people needing a third coat on this one. So as with all of these, this is one that I'm very excited to try. I feel like I'm going to be repeating myself on a lot of these, but yeah, that's an unusual one. I think I got that in a mystery box. So our first pruglie of the video was a mystery prototype 289 from Different Dimension. Next up, this one comes from Beys Lacquers. This is Ugh, As If, and it was day 19 for the indie mixtapes. I don't remember what year, but I actually had this in my summer tote. I didn't really ever get a summer rack going, but I did have this in my potentials to wear for summer. But I also think it falls into the realm of a pruglie for fall. It's again in that sort of a, is it yellow, is it green color category. It has black matte flakes, and then it has iridescent flakes. So this is definitely one of the more complex formulas. Now this is in just two coats with a glossy top coat. I would say this one is somewhere between a 2 and 3 coater, depending on your nail length and application, and I guess also depending on if 2 coats gets you pruglie enough, or if you prefer it with a third coat to add more of those black flakes to sort of obscure and murkify even more that interesting base color. But I love how this one looks. I love those black flakes, and again, the color of this one is interesting and unusual. To my eyes, as I'm looking at it, it falls into that more of a green than a yellow, but it does have a yellow lean to it. And I love those iridescent flakes in it. So our second pruglie was from Beys Lacquer's Ugh, As If. Next up is, I think, our last brighter shade before we get into our darker tones. This is from Blush Lacquer, and this is Patronic Brain. I do believe this is based on Star Trek, so Data, I think, is the inspiration behind this color. And this is again sort of this slime leaning electric greeny yellow or yellow green. This one does have some shimmer in it, some maybe like micro golden flakes, maybe hollow. Yeah, I think they are hollow. But as you can see, just such an unusual, interesting color. This one I did do in 3 coats with a glossy top coat. And as you can see, you get a lot of those flakes out on the nail. So this one is going to have some beautiful holographic sparkle in the sunlight. And this one is a squishier formula, so you would definitely need those 3 coats. And you're still going to get a bit of that squish factor since the polish was made for those holographic bits to shine through nicely through the layers. So that one was Blush Lacquer's Patronic Brain. Now into our darker tones. This one is from Beys Polish, and this is Breaking Walls. This is another one that has flakies, this time in a darker, swampier green. There are some multi-chrome flakes. Actually can't tell if there's also iridescent flakes in this. There might be. But there's definitely a couple of different kinds of flakes in the multi-chrome family. You can see the brighter greens plus the purples and golds, as well as like a light tone of orange and some shades of pink and maybe even blue. Yeah, definitely blue right there. This had a creamy formula, so this is it in just 2 coats with a glossy top coat. As you can see, it might need 3 coats on longer nails, but I think for my nail length, I would be just fine with these 2 coats. And as you can see, those interesting multi-chrome flakes in this base add a twinkle of rainbows, a rather unexpected flash of color in this murky, swampy color. So that one was Beys Polish, Breaking Walls. Next up is one that I feel like is a classic, especially now that Orly has discontinued it. This one is Orly's Elysian Fields or Elysian Fields. I'm actually not sure on that, but you guys, this one came out in one of the, I believe, fall collections, and it is an unusual color for sure. And I will say when I initially unboxed it, I don't remember what my feelings were, except that it was an unusual color. Whether or not I thought I would wear it was another thing altogether, but you guys, this is one that I am wearing on my right hand. Now obviously I'm wearing a topper because this does not have shimmer or sparkle in it. This is a very murky, swampy green that has a lot of brown in it. It is unusual. I'm really bummed actually that Orly discontinued this because it is such an unusual shade, but perhaps it just wasn't popular enough or made them enough sales for it to be worth them keeping it around. But definitely happy that I have a bottle, and also very happy that the Orly bottles are 18 mLs, which means that this should last me a good long while. So this is it in just 2 coats with a glossy top coat. We'll get around here in just a minute to how I'm wearing it on my own nails, but this is it on its own in 2 coats with a glossy top coat. And as you can see, it is that deeper, murky, it has that unusual tone to it. Just compared to that swampy green from Beys Polish, you can see that it's an even more unusual and more heavily brown leaning green with that swampy tone. It is such an unusual color. But you guys, I am loving this on my skin tone. I love the deepness, the richness of it, and how I am wearing it is with a topper, and I chose Pahlish's Pyrite. This is a fairly recent addition to my collection. I got it in a mystery box, and yeah, it's a gold, you guys. I'm wearing a gold and a pruglie. This, I feel, is more outside my wheelhouse than the Pruglies are, but the reason I picked this and kept it is I was inspired by Makeup Just for Fun. In one of her videos wore a similar combination to this. It was Elysian Fields with a gold topper that I think was from like Raechel-polishwithrae or Beys Lacquer, and I didn't have that one, but it made me inspired to at least see what I had in my collection that could work to do a similar layered combo. And when I found this one, I'm like, wow, okay, this is actually a perfect darker gold that I think could work nicely. So this is just 1 coat of Pyrite over that Orly. And actually you can still see a bit of Elysian Fields peeking through at the very edges of my nail. But yeah, really, really liking this combo. And that surprises me because it is gold. Regulars will hear me say all the time that gold is probably at this point my least favorite color, right next to bright yellows. But I'm loving this. I'm loving this antiqued, bronzy, brassy, I don't even know how to describe it, combo. So absolutely loving that. But yeah, that was Pahlish's Pyrite over top of Orly's Elysian Fields. Great combo. All right, next up, this one actually turned out to be less prugly than I remembered it being, but this is Beys Lacquer, Give Me One Honest Thing from the Serpent and the Wings of Night collection. So for me, I might actually wear this maybe over Elysian Fields or something else equally creamy and swampy to sort of amp up the swampitude, the prugliness, but this one is a green with a very unique shimmer. It has that bright magenta to orange. This also has a gold and yellow there at the edges, but that magenta in this darker green I thought was very unusual, and I thought it would be pruglie. However, this is how it looks in 3 coats with a glossy top coat. Maybe pruglie, but not compared to Elysian Fields and the other ones in this lineup once swatched. The base of this is more of a true green. It doesn't have as much yellow in it or brown to lean it solidly, anyways, in my opinion, into a pruglie. But since I had already swatched it, I decided to go ahead and keep it in here. And like I said, I think I will try to work with it and make it more of a pruglie by wearing it over like Elysian Fields or maybe a brown, or could even try it over a deep, deep mustard to see how that blends with this green. But in any case, here it is in those 3 coats. It has that gorgeous shimmer. And yeah, I mean, maybe to some people this would still fall into the pruglie realm, but after looking at all of these truly unusual shades of green, this one by comparison is a little bit more normal than the rest. But that was it in 3 coats. So that was Beys Lacquer, Give Me One Honest Thing. Next up, we have a Moonshine Manny. This is Ragnarok. So this is a Thor-inspired polish. And you guys, this is another one where I'm pretty sure I got it in a mystery box. Maybe a D-stash, but I'm leaning more towards I got it in a mystery box, because for as long as I've had this polish, I don't think that this would have been one that I would have picked out for myself. But you guys, I'm so happy I have it. So happy I have it. It is an unusual shade of green, as most of these are. And then this is filled with multichrome flakes, maybe even iridescent flakes, and a shifting shimmer. This is such a gorgeous color. Look at that electric green. Wow. This is it in just 2 coats. I was really impressed with how opaque this got in just the 2 coats. And it's nice and glossy with that top coat. This, to me, falls firmly into that sort of a prugliness, because you have that murky base color pulling this into a very earthy color. Then you have that brighter orange really amping this up, and those flakes adding some intrigue and interest to the nail. But yeah, I was really impressed with that in just 2 coats. So that one was Moonshine Manny's Ragnarok. Next up is the other color that I'm wearing on my left hand. This is Cracked Polish Dijon Disco. This is a fairly new acquisition. I just got it in my August order from them. And you guys, I cannot stress enough how much I am loving this. This is the first one that I wanted to get on my nails, and then I decided to go with this combo. But wow. This is the first polish that I'm getting on my nails from this brand, and I couldn't be more impressed. This is so gorgeous. So gorgeous. To me, it's really almost hard to call this a pruglie because I love it so much. I'm actually shocking myself at how much I'm enjoying these pruglies on, because sometimes I will find that I love a color, but then on I'm like, meh, it's just not that good on me, or I just don't love it as much. But y'all, these 2 have me gobsmacked at how much I am loving them on. And this is Dijon Disco in just 2 coats. And you guys, I think some nail lengths, if you do a more solid 1 coat, it could be a 1 coat. This is absolutely shocking and beautiful. Probably one of my top polishes of the year. Now, unfortunately, this was a custom polish for a Facebook group back in August. I don't think it's still available on their website, and I don't know if they're able to bring it back. But I think because this one got so much love, we might see more. I don't know. I can't speak for the brand because I don't know them, but I can only hope with as many people as snatched this up, I would hope to see maybe a few pruglies in this shade range come out. I won't say soon, but maybe at some point. But yeah, this is one of my favorites. Cannot get enough of this. I have been loving it on. And it's super shifty. So I know you saw it all on my nails, but here it is on the swatch in 2 coats with a glossy top coat. And you guys, this one, can I say I'm in love with this again? It is spectacular. So the shifts in this really change the polish depending on your lighting. Right in this lighting here, you can see how dark it can get, but in other lighting, that shimmer brings a brighter green to this, so it does lighten it up. Some of the lighting will bring out the brighter tone of that darker base out, and then of course you have that bright shift to green in that shifting shimmer. Again, cannot speak highly enough about this polish. It has just blinded me. I absolutely love it. So that one was a cracked polish Dijon Disco. Now we're going to briefly do a bottle shot comparison next to the next polish, because when I had these lining up, I was like, holy moly, did I accidentally dupe myself? Because the shimmers in these two, cracked Dijon Disco and Bees Knees, I'm the only leftover, seemed very similar. Now I will say, in this specific light right in front of the camera, they aren't coming off nearly as dupeable as they were in my direct lighting over here. And I think you can see that brighter tone come out in this light. But they are completely different in formula. This is Beys Lacquer. I'm the only leftover. This came out in HHC for $10.22. So again, I was buying Pruglies back in 2022, 2020 even, but yeah, I still have yet to get this one on my nails. This is another green base with this larger particled shimmer that has very similar shifts to the one that you were seeing in cracked, but this one is a larger size. The base is also sheerer, so for this one I did need 3 coats for mostly opaque, and as you can see, they have a very different look on the nail. You have that squish factor to the Beys Lacquer, which means that most of what you're seeing is going to come from the shifting shimmer, and then you're going to have that back tone, that back note of that green. So yeah, very different. Once they're swatched, you get more of that opacity from the cracked, but loving the shimmer in that Beys Lacquer. So that was Beys Lacquer. I'm the only leftover. Next up is, I think, the oldest polish from my collection that I would call a pruglie, at least that I bought intentionally. This is from Wildflower Lacquer, and this is Sunset Bringer. So this came out in October, HHC for 2020. This is technically, I think, a yellow that has a slimy green tone to it, and then it is jam-packed full of a shifting shimmer that's very similar to the other two that we looked at from Cracked and Beys Lacquer. Plus, this one has hollow. This is another beautiful combo. I mean, look at the rainbows that you're getting from the hollow and the beautiful shifts in that shimmer. You have orange, copper. You almost get like this deep rose, like with an orange tint to it, plus the green and gold. So here is that one in 2 coats with a glossy top coat. This is another one, you guys, I get the feeling I'm going to absolutely love this on. Again, I cannot stress the pleasant, surprised nature of how much I like these on. I knew I would like them in the bottle. Like that part I wasn't surprised by. Obviously, as you can see, I've been buying these slowly for the past like 4 years. But now that I've finally gotten them on, I am just thoroughly enjoying these on. So I would urge you, if you are hesitant about trying them because you aren't sure that they are going to look good on you, but you find that you like darker colors on yourself, you might love these, especially if you like these golden fall colors. I think you might really enjoy it on. So this one is just 2 coats, very opaque formula on that one. I was very impressed. So that one was Wildflower Lacquer's Sunset Bringer. Next up, we have 2 sort of oddballs, because technically part of each of these colors is not pruglie per se, but I thought that the unmagnetized version of both of these, and yes, both of these last 2 polishes are magnetic, made them sort of fall into the pruglie realm. So this one is Sassy Cat's Lacquer Pure Moonlight. This came out in March 24 for a little box of horrors, and this one has an unusual base. This has that pruglie slimy green base to it, which is really hard to see in the bottle. This also has a lot of brown in that slime green, as you can see there on the neck. In fact, I think mostly on the neck you're seeing it as like a murky brown, but the base does have that green yellow tint to it, and then it has that magnetic pull that you're seeing as a pink, and it does have a shift to it as well. I think you can see a pinch of like a orange at the edges and maybe a slight shift to purple and then gold. So here's how it looks when you magnetize it. That pink pulls up into the magnetic line. But yeah, for this one, I was finding it fell more into the pruglie line when I left it unmagnetized. So here it is in 2 coats with a glossy top coat unmagnetized. You can see that sort of a unusual brown with a like hint of that yellow. You can see that yellow right up there. Again, very unusual combo. And again, I think this one sort of falls into the more approachable of colors for these Pruglies because it does have that pink glow to it, which if you leave it unmagnetized, shines nicely across the whole nail. And I would say for this one, it does fall somewhere between a 2 and 3 coater. But that one was Sassy Cat's Pure Moonlight. And then last but not least, we have another magnetic from Lemming Lacquer. This is Little Wolf to Queen. This is another one that I got in Little Box of Horror for March 2024. And I think this one falls into the Pruglie line, again, more when it is unmagnetized, because when you magnetize it, the base is purple. So that, to me, is much harder to fall into the Pruglie line. But when it's unmagnetized, you have this murkiness about it. You have that bright gold flash. You have a mix of scattered hollow and some flakes in there. So that I thought fell nicely into the Pruglie line. So this is it in 2 coats with a glossy top coat. And again, I feel like this is kind of more approachable for someone that's less in love with Pruglies. You can see that sort of a murky purple around the edges, but mostly what's catching your attention is the gold shimmer. Then you have the scattering of the flakes in there. And because you can't quite tell what the base color is, it just sort of leaves this feeling very mysterious on the nail. And I would say for this one, 2 coats should be good for most people if you don't magnetize it. However, if you do magnetize it, I would say it's somewhere between a 2 and 3 coater. This is another one where I might try wearing this over a green like Elysian Fields from Orly to try to give it more of a boost in that prugliness because like I said, I am loving these Pruglies on. So the last one in my Pruglies for Fall 2024 video is Lemming Lacquer's Little Wolf to Queen. So there we have it. Those are the Pruglies that I plan to wear for Fall 2024. Let me know which ones were your favorites down below, or if you have any other Pruglie suggestions, feel free to list them all down below. I am fully invested in finding more. I know I do have a few more coming from different orders that I've placed over the last couple of weeks, but they just haven't got here yet, or I haven't unboxed them. But yeah, these are the ones that I have out and about that I'm really excited to wear. As always, hopefully you guys had a good time hanging out with me and looking at beautiful polish, or Pruglies in this case. If you want to see more, maybe more traditional colors and more Pruglies, because I'm sure there are some Pruglies on these lists as well, check out the list down below for all of the participants of this collaboration for Fall 2024. We had quite a long list this season, so I was really excited to see so many people participating. If you're new, do think about hitting that little subscribe button down below. That way you don't miss out on any of my new videos. Hopefully you have a good rest of your day, and I will see you in that next one.